are stronger, stronger than you thought.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here with you today. My name is Crystal Andrus Morissette, and welcome to simplywoman.tv. I'm your host, and over the next 30 minutes, we're talking about love, heterosexual love, man-woman love. And, you know, a question that a lot of women ask are, where are all the good guys? And why is dating so hard? I'm so glad I'm beyond that. But if you keep choosing the wrong kind of guy, or you just can't seem to get your inner radar machine working effectively, you don't want to miss today's episode. And I've invited my friend, colleague, Charlene Byars. She's a relationship expert to help us unpack this and to offer some great ideas for ways we can all help remove those blocks and obstacles that might be preventing us, preventing you from stepping into and creating your best relationship. Charlene Byars is an empowerment and a relationship coach. She actually went through the SWAT Institute. She's a leader for women. She's a speaker and a writer and a regular columnist who writes about relationships in our magazine, simplywoman.com. So I was so excited about having Charlene with us here today. She studied women and men in relationships for 25 years. I don't know how that's possible. She's founded the Level Up for Love program and course and the Facebook group with the same name. And her coaching practice is, you know, it's incredible the stuff that Charlene has been doing. And I've been watching her in her Facebook group and her interaction with the women. And I find Charlene to be just so authentic, so full of life. And hey, listen, she's not only married, but she has 5 kids that she's juggling and a few boys in there. So I thought she is the perfect woman to come and let's talk love. Charlene, thanks so much for being here today.
Oh, thank you, Crystal. I'm so excited to be here. No, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited about this new show that you have going on. So I'm just excited to be a guest today.
Oh, I'm excited. If you can't tell already, Charlene is Cuban-American. She's born in America, but she says, I'm 100% Cuban. She loves travel and salsa dancing and live concerts. But her favorite topic really is love. And so, Charlene, we're going to come right out of the gate. And if you have questions on Facebook right now, I'm also looking and watching. Hi, Robin. I see Robin there. There's a few new comments. Hi, Charlene, Robin says. Charlene, where are all the good guys? Where are all the good guys? Are there good guys? Tell me about those good guys.
I know, Crystal. Where are those men, right? Like, what is going on? What is going on?
Well, I found me one, but today you are here to help us start to unpack this and figure out what is getting in the way. Why are so many women struggling, or are they? Talk to me about what's going on in relationships these days.
So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you an overview, kind of like what I've been hearing and the coaching that I'm doing. And, you know, it either comes down to 2 things. So I work with like women that come to me and they're like, Charlene, I am really at a place in my life that I'm looking for a good man. Like, I'm done with, you know, the games and the ghosters. And is it like, are they still out there? No, seriously, they're like, are they still out there? Because women will tell me, they're like, when I date and when I go out and I try to, like, you know, find some, I literally feel like this is what I hear all the time, I have the worst picker. Like, I'm picking internal picker. So a lot of times when I start working with women and I tell them, you know, we talk about like, where are all the good men? The reality is, this is interesting. They're actually everywhere, Crystal. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. They really are. And what's happening, and, you know, and I say this all the time, no fault to us as women, right? Like, no fault to us as women. It's just how things are sometimes. And I hope today that we are talking about, you know, when we're talking about men, we're talking about women that are really attracted to, you know, the masculine, right? The masculine. And we're talking about, you know, if a man is really attracted to the feminine. So that's more of the heterosexual. So specifically, that's what I want to talk to you about today. But the men, what's happening? This is what I want to tell you what I think is happening.
Okay.
Women, us and me in general, and I have a little, you know, what happened to me is
take us back. Tell us about what happened to you as well.
I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
So when I left my ex-husband, and I was in a marriage with my ex-husband, and it was We fought all the time. It was a battle. And it was something that no matter what happened, I knew that I couldn't change this guy. It was just too much. So I needed to leave that marriage. And I did. Not everyone has to leave their marriage, but I'm just saying for me, particular, I left.
Whew.
Yeah.
Not
so
everybody.
So this is interesting. So then for the first time in my life as an adult woman, an older adult woman, a single woman with children, and really being in go, 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 busy, busy, busy. I was at the time also, so, I'm a coach, but I started out, Crystal, in sales. So I used to be a sales coach, and I used to be an international I train people and go places. But the problem is for me to be in the position that I was in, I was dealing with a lot of men, a lot of, masculine men.
VIP men.
Yeah, VIP
alphas,
men.
Male
Yes.
alphas.
And it wasn't the type of alphas that I was, wanting. But what happened was I had no idea. It was the craziest experience. The men in my life, when I was single, I wasn't really able to attract what I was looking for. And what I found out was that I didn't even know this, Crystal, I had no idea. I was so much in masculine energy that truly it was like a turnoff. It was a turnoff. And I know that like with a solid masculine man, he's not going to be attracted to a masculine woman. And I had no idea that my energy and the way that I was, approaching men and talking to men, I was kind of like one of the guys in a way. And I wasn't, and I was really, really up in my head. So I was thinking, doing, asking all the questions, really, truly, like we talk about like mother energy and stuff, really getting myself in a place that I was almost mothering men.
Well, let's stay with that just for a minute, because you just introduced something that I coined in my book, The Emotional Edge. And I love that you've incorporated that and brought that into your work with this sort of idea that that as women, we often show up as one of three archetypes. And one of them, you said, is like sort of like this mother energy. That's the more masculine, the more giver, doer, having, becoming, striving, bigger is better, and building empires. And so you were really in that very powerfully productive mother energy.
There's nothing wrong with that, but yes.
And nothing wrong with that. But when we're looking to find love, David Dita, who's also a relationship expert, he works with men. He writes extensively about that there's sort of the feminine and the masculine in every person. And so I'm hearing you use the term as sort of the masculine in a woman is that mother energy, and the feminine in a woman is more what we call the daughter energy. But how do we show up as women? And I know you've done so much work around this. So let's go back to that. So you're in the corporate world, which most of us in the corporate world do have a lot of powerful masculine energy. That's what makes us able to create.
Correct. And what I love about this is when it comes to the energies, it truly is energy, Crystal. And when it comes to the energy, if you're a man, you can actually have the feminine energy also. Okay.
We do.
But we're today talking about romantic relationships, right? So we're not talking about friendships. We're talking about romantic relationships. And for a romantic relationship to work, there has to be polarity. And for polarity to be there, there has to be opposite. And that's kind of like the yin and the yang, like it's the opposite. So the opposite energies is what makes it romantic. And so what I've learned is when I have been in my masculine energy, which is more of the doer, the go, the get it done. And really in general, women, like truly, when we talk about women and being in our feminine energy is completely the opposite of that. So when we think of our feminine energy, I always feel like us women are like, we all have this wild horse in us, we have this wildness in us. So we're like, I always say we're like the ocean. We're vast, we're free, we're flow. And masculine, what I say is very structured, very still. It's more to me like the mountain, okay? So what I've learned is when I was in, girlfriend, I was in this masculine energy. And like I said, I was thinking, what's up? Because it had nothing to do with Missy, with the
And it has nothing to do with when you
external.
look at you, you're so beautiful. You
Yeah.
look very feminine.
Thank
Your
you.
body is very feminine. The way you look. So it's not even just so much
Not
because
external.
I have the same thing. People might look at me and think I'm so feminine with the way I look, but I do have a lot of that masculine mother energy that it doesn't work always in relationships, is what I'm hearing you say.
Yes. So what I learned, this is what I learned, and this is what I'm teaching now. It's a shift. It's just a shift. And when I learned how to truly start shifting my energy when I'm in my masculine, meaning that, you know, I'm in business mode. And I'm also learned how to not be so masculine anymore and really learn my feminine and still how to deal with more of the business sense. Okay.
Let's talk what that feminine is. Tell me what that feminine feels like for a woman who might be just, and I want to say you can really be in that mother energy or that masculine giving energy and not have children and it has nothing to, it's not to do with being a mother. It's to do with, you said, it's sort of this change energy. Right. So what does the yin feel like in a woman and how does it change the way we show up?
How it changes. And so this is a question, Crystal, that I ask women. And this is how I know if women are more in their feminine or where they're resonating at. So one of the questions I ask women is, and I'm just going to ask this question. So you guys, so if everyone's listening right now, here we go.
There we go.
How do you want to feel in a relationship with a man? How do you want to feel? So I'm going to wait here for just a second. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you what I hear often. If we're talking about, you know, this is generalization with women.
Yeah.
What I hear often is women say to me, one of the first things they say to me, Crystal, is like, I want to feel safe. I want to feel safe. I want to be seen. I want to feel seen. I want to be protected. I want to be protected. And one thing that women tell me all the time, they said, I want to be taken care of. And I understand what they mean by that. It's not necessarily like, you know, material-wise. No, I mean, it could be, but that's not what it is. What it really is that they want someone to truly have their back, to have life with someone, to do life with someone. And when they answer that way, then I know that they are truly a more feminine essence woman. So what is a feminine essence woman? A feminine essence woman is a woman that really, really is in touch with her body. Because when a woman isn't in touch with her body and she feels, everything else starts answering. It's like I said, it's a different energy. And I tell people, I said, we can't think ourselves through sex. We can't like think ourselves right through, again, childbirth. We can't think ourselves through certain things in life. We actually have to feel. Yeah. And when we're in relationships, when we're in romantic relationships, it's all about the feel. It's all about the feel. And you'll know when you are with a man and you are in alignment. I always tell you, never have to worry. You don't have to be up in here because this is going to mess with you. This is going to be all the blah, 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 blah. When you let go, and I teach now women a practice, a daily practice, which is the embodiment feminine movement. It's really helping women get back into their bodies and feel. Yeah. Because I learned that, you know, like traditional meditation, which I believe meditations is amazing, but it's very masculine and it's very still.
Well, it's very up in the brain. It's the thinking. It's the thinking yes. rather than being in the feeling. Unless we do a guided meditation where we bring someone down into their bodies. But yes. Yeah, I'm hearing you.
So I do this. So we get women back into their bodies because, like I said, when they start feeling again, things start changing, a different energy starts happening. And of course, when women get to do this work, as you know, the work that you guys do in the empowerment school.
And that you do, yeah.
Yes, that I do. It really is. It's almost like a healing. And I always tell them they get to come back home. They get to come back home. They get to come back. I think now what's happening in the world and society, and there's no fault to us women, but it is too much go, 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 work,
Yeah.
work, work. And we feel like, they tell us, oh, the more successful we are, the more money we make, the happier we're going to be. Nah, that's not true. That's actually not true, because we weren't meant to, as women, truly, we weren't meant to be go, 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 work, work, work.
Right. Go, 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 work, work, work. But it doesn't mean we can't work smart and make a lot of money. How do you think?
I'm a very successful woman, Crystal.
Yeah, and so am I. And it's interesting. I was just reading another article written from a man's perspective, and the woman asked him, "How do you think men feel about successful women?" I'd be curious to know what your thoughts on that are.
Well, I think what I've learned when I deal with a lot of men. So I talk to a lot of men all the time, and they don't actually mind successful women. They love it. They love it. What they want is,
They say they do, but do they?
Well, I'll tell you right now, if a man is in his masculine, okay, like his true masculine,
Right.
then he is in a different place. So those men that are in their masculine, they are actually different than what a lot of women. They're not. They're so in their masculine. They are so content with who they are and where they are. And that's why, Crystal, I'm telling you something. That's why I do this work. This is so important to me, because I realize, I tell women, one of the biggest decisions you're ever going to make, honestly, is who you pick to be with for the rest of your life, or who you decide to, stay with, because you know how that overall determines overall your happiness. Because if you're in a relationship with a person, and I tell women, how do you feel in that relationship? So if you're in a relationship and things are not aligned and things are not working out and you don't feel good and you've tried everything, then that's really going to affect your overall, right? But if you're over here and you're with, a man that is just like you are with him, if you're in a relationship that there's an alignment, that there's the kindness, that there's the respect, then everything shifts for us women. And that's what I want people to understand, because I believe that, I always say we're not like here on an island by ourselves. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about, us connecting as human beings. It's important. We want great connections.
So we're going back just to that. I just wanted to reframe that. When we talked about, does a man want a successful woman? What I'm really hearing you say is, if a man is really comfortable with his own inner power, that he wouldn't be threatened by her sense of power. If anything, he would probably want to help to lift her up and recognize that. So where do we find that guy? Like, where is he? And are you saying basically he won't be there until we're there? Like, where do we find him? Or
I'll tell you how you do that. So
I mean, I don't need to know. I'm married. I'm good. But where are these guys everywhere? Like, when you say, oh, they're everywhere. Are they?
Everywhere.
They're everywhere?
Actually, everywhere, Crystal, everywhere. And this is the deal. So one thing that I also, I like to work with women and like to teach them. I teach them a completely different way of dating. A different way that really helps them go back and get their power back again. Okay, so get their power back again, because really in the end, women are the one that get to choose, right? Like, we don't chase the guys. We are able to, go and have fun and meet different people. But eventually you will know that the right man will actually chase you. And then you get to decide, you're the one that gets to decide, do I want him or I don't want him? So this is what I teach. So I take women through this process because I think it's so important, because it's not just, Crystal, it's not just when it comes to our energy. How do we clear that energy? We truly need to also address our past. We need to address our past relationships, address, whatever has been, like I always say, like holding us down, like you talk about, like keeping us stuck. So we address that first. And then once we're able to really address that and really start getting into, the feeling in the body and the attraction, this is what I teach now. It is so awesome. So
Nicole says I'm asking for her right now, Crystal. And Robin says, and hi, Robin. Robin says she's recently separated. Robin, I'm so sorry to hear that, but maybe it's for the best. She said, yeah, the man has to be secure in himself. And you're saying there's a lot of secure men out there. And I think a lot of men, I can't say for a lot of men, I don't mean to say like, I don't know lots of men, but I think I think it's really important to a man that when we do, one of the things I said to my husband, I wish I didn't. I didn't say it, but one of the things I said to him when we first got together, because he was so confident in himself. And, I was just like you. I'd been through a divorce. After that divorce, I was in a 7-year relationship, and, it fell apart, and I'll tell the reasons why I think it fell apart was his infidelity. And there are certain things that are just deal breakers, but I saw the signs way back in the beginning, and I chose to think I could be a woman enough so we wouldn't have to, keep being like that sexually with other women. But one of the things when I met Aaron, he was so confident that I was the woman for him rather, and that he was the man for me. And I remember in our third date, he pulled the chair knee to knee, and he said, you might not know this yet, but I'm the man for you. And and you're the woman for me. And I thought that was like, I just laughed. It was like, oh, okay, we'll see about that. And it was
Can I ask you something? Did you like it? Did you like it?
Of course, I loved it.
Yes.
Listen, we were engaged 4 months later, and we were married a year later, and we've just celebrated our 14th year anniversary. So I loved that level of confidence. And why I want to say that is because at the time, he had a good job, he had benefits, blah, 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 blah. And he was very confident in who he was as a man. And yes, here's the interesting thing. Once we got married, we did start building our life together and our business together. And he left that business, and he is truly the wind beneath my wings now, literally with the fan in front of me right here. He made sure no, wouldn't do those things, but I know I saw him running around getting your fan for you. But he really stepped into that role. And one of the things I said to him that I laugh now and say, I wish I'd really say that, is I said to him, don't change who you are, because I have the ability, and I don't do it purposefully, but I can change men, and I can squash you without meaning to, and without wanting to, just because I do have a larger than life personality. So, keep doing the things you love that make you feel. So he still goes and plays baseball once a week with the guys. He plays hockey in the winter he does those things that, even though our life is so enmeshed now, we do everything together. The kids have left home now. And so we're really like the best of friends, but it is really important for him to still have those things about him that he feels confident in, that masculine that allows me to be the primary breadwinner. And it doesn't, people will say, doesn't that emasculate him? And I'm like, he has an incredible life. We have an incredible life. But what I'm really hearing you say is, you as the woman, you have to get yourself into that place.
Yes.
And so I know I asked you to give me some questions before we went live, and I'm asking you questions that you didn't give me. So
ask me whatever you want. I got you. I'm good.
Well, if you could because we're I just can't believe how fast time flies. But if you could, off the top of your head, before we get into we've already gotten into where are all the great men, and you say they're everywhere. But what are the things we can do as a woman to get ourselves balanced in our own energy so that we are able to show up as that great woman, so that we are confident in ourselves when we do see that great man? What are some of the things we can do as women to get ourselves more into that feminine receiving energy?
Well, that's perfect. Okay, that's cool. I like that you're saying that. That goes back to what I was just talking about when it comes to how women can really get back into, out of the head and back into the body. And that's why now I am helping women, and I'm teaching them a new way, Crystal. And this is one thing that I
tell us the way. What is the way?
So let's talk about, for a second, dating. Okay, let's talk about dating and the traditional dating. So the traditional dating, and in general, how women do it, because men know how to date. Women, not so much, but we're going to learn. So when we are dating, we go.
What's wrong with us? Why don't we know how to date?
I know, because no one taught us this. So I'm going to teach you right now.
Okay.
So when we go dating, we usually date one guy at one time, right? And so that So what happens is when we are putting, what I always say, you put in all your eggs in one basket and you go and you're dating the one guy at the one time. So then what happens is you're so concentrated on this one person. The reality is that then you find yourself, is he into me, not into me? You're up in here. Remember, you're back up in here. You're all in the thinking. So what I've learned is I tell women, I said, listen, we got to get back and have some fun again. We have to be able to just relax and let go. So I teach, instead of always leaning in. So we're going on dates. A lot of times women these days.
Because we lean in at business. But what you're saying is don't be so leaned in.
No more leaning in. We're going to
no more leaning in love.
No more lean back. We're going to lean back, because when we're leaning in and we're trying to control the whole thing, right? We're going to continue on attracting what we don't want to attract. What we don't want to attract. When we take a deep breath. Everything's gonna be okay. We're gonna have some fun, ladies. We're gonna have some fun.
So dating should be fun.
100%. And not only fun, I actually tell women, I said, it's like a funnel. It's like a funnel. We always got to have like 3 in the funnel. Okay.
So we need to date multiple men.
Yes, because we're dating is getting to know people. That's it. We're just getting to know people. We're getting to know people. And when you get to know different people, and you allow yourself that time.
So you're not thinking, is this the guy? You're not thinking the one. You're just going out. You're going on dates.
And having
Here's what's funny, and I can't believe we're getting low on time. Here's what's funny. When I was single, and I can't believe how many marriage requests I got. And I thought I was on business meetings. I would go for lunch. I would go for dinner. I never thought I was dating. Really? In my mind, I was never dating. From my mind, it was like, I'm just meeting someone. Maybe we'll do business together. I don't know what it's.
And you're just,
It was the energy that I was not looking for love.
Yes.
So I love that idea that go out, have fun. And then what about when you do think, I think this is the guy? Is there a rule on sex?
So this is what I say about sex. Let's talk about sex for a second. I don't know how much time we have. This is such a good, juicy conversation. Okay, so sex. Women ask you this question. When should I have sex? Okay, this is the deal.
Whatever you wanted.
As a grown, but hold on, this depends. As a grown-ass woman, you can do whatever you want to do. Seriously. Okay? Yep. So that's it. So if you are not looking for a long-term, your partner, and you are in a place in your life that you just want to do whatever you want to do.
What if you are looking? What if you're looking for your partner? Is there a rule?
If you're looking for your partner, there is what I teach what I call the RAM system, okay? And what that is really allowing women to take their time. Because what's going to happen is when you meet a man, especially in the beginning, that is the ceiling as good as it gets. He's going to show up his best self. So when you allow the time, the naturalness of really what it is to get to know another human being, you don't get to just know a human being like that. It takes time. It takes a moment. It takes really putting yourself in different situations to see what this human is all about. You know what it also takes, Crystal? It takes meeting some people that he knows. Okay. So
Because so you want to meet, you want to get to know a little bit. Before you play all your cards.
100%, because you want to know if you're looking for a long-term man, you want to know what you're dealing with before you go and get intimate with this person.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you one thing. I can't believe I'm going to say this on my show and we're out of time. I met Aaron. We had a one-night stand that I thought was going to be a one-night stand, and then it turned into love. But here's the thing: I wasn't looking for love. I'd been so heartbroken. I'd been cheated on. I was so heartbroken, and it had been about a year. And my friend said to me, "Crystal, you've lost your mojo. You know what you need to do? You need to go out tonight. We're going to go out." And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Just meet the cutest guy and have some fun." And there was Aaron. And I got to tell you, we had it was a wonderful evening. And in the next morning, he was tickling my arm and looking at me. He's like, "You're just such an angel." And he's like, "I don't hold this against you." And I was like, "Good. I don't hold it against you either." And I told him I really wasn't looking I'd been too heartbroken. I actually said, "I'm really wounded. I'm really broken. thank you so much for a great evening. You've made me realize that guy, he's not all that. There's other fish in the sea. Thank you for that. And if I could say, though, I would say that's not the way to do it. And if my kids hear this, they'll be like, Mom, what? You had a one-night stand? What? Well, it wasn't. It turned into a marriage.
Nothing wrong with that, but there's actually nothing wrong with that, Crystal.
It can happen. It can happen.
It can happen.
But I agree with you. I think you're far better to have fun, get to know, and then see if your values and your dreams and all of that align. I agree with you on that. Charlene, I'm going to give you the last 30 seconds because we're there. We're going to put up all your information under the show so people can find you. I know you've got some courses, you do coaching. We're going to make sure women can find you, but let's give women just the last little tidbit of what we can do to make sure that we're in the right place to find love.
Yeah, so I always want to say something. So you are not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You know that really love is available to all of us, right? And it really does come down to what do you want? Like, what are you truly desiring and looking for? Because it's possible. 100%, of course, it's possible.
Yeah, and I think mindset, isn't it? A lot of mindset.
Well, I think, like I said, for what I've learned is, yes, it's mindset, but for me, what I've learned, it is really stepping into a different place, into a different place and really healing our hearts from, the stuff that's keeping us. Absolutely. and going out with a different energy and having some fun. And really in the end, I promise you will attract, when you do this, you will attract what you're looking for. You really will. But it's just really having to do the work.
And having fun and being in your body, feeling in your body, being in your body. Thank you so much, Charlene. Next week, you want to come back because we are talking about the brain next week. We're talking about neuroplasticity, how to retrain your brain for happiness and success. I've invited neuroscientist Shantae Javon Taylor here to help us. You don't want to miss this next week. Plus, we'd love your help in, picking the best topics. Maybe a great expert, or you could be a guest on the show. You want to head to simplywoman.tv, join our mailing list. Remember that we are for women, by women, about women. And of course, it's been my pleasure to connect with you today. Thank you so much, Charlene. And my name's Crystal Andrus Morissette. Take care. And I'll see you next week for another episode of Simply Woman. Thanks, Charlene. Bye for now, everyone. See you next week.
You are stronger than